certainly apologize for the heat. There's not much we can do about that. It's probably better than the major thunderstorm that's rumbling out there and should be with us momentarily. So we need to get our graduates in here, and they are on their way. I have a few pointers, a few messages for you. Because of the cramped conditions, we would appreciate that you avoid, and you are not allowed actually, it's off limits, to come forward to these areas to take pictures. We cannot have these areas with people taking pictures. Nor will we allow anyone to be on the side, near these speakers, on either side, nor on the balconies behind the stage. We appreciate your cooperation with that. Also, finally, I would like to make sure that you allow the graduates to march out. They will march out of this Coliseum. We will turn the fans back on shortly, but we need to have no fans as they march in. Thank you.
Please be seated. Good evening, graduates, parents, family members, school board members, Governor Shaheen, Mayor Baines, Mr. Tangway, Mr. Adamakis, faculty and students. Welcome to the 155th graduation of Manchester Central High School. The oldest and the best high school in New Hampshire. I am the principal of Manchester Central High School. My name is Dan French, and I am proud of this graduating class. It is an honor and a pleasure to speak to you on this warm evening. As the principal of Central, I've had the opportunity to watch many of these young people accomplish incredible things during my tenure. These students are wonderful human beings. They strive to please, and they accept any challenge they are given. The students who volunteered their time to read to elementary students, serve on athletic teams, join student council, serve on the National Honor Society, join the band and chorus, work toward giving back to the community, must be recognized for the dedication to Central. A few of the programs sponsored this year include Kids Cafe, the American Red Cross, the annual food drive, Wilson Street Buddies, the Mayor's Council, and numerous other volunteer efforts. I'd like to take you back in time for a minute and tell you about some history surrounding Central High School. In 1867, Central was overcrowded and moved into a new facility we all know as a classical building. At this time, grades were numbers, not letters, and these numbers established class rank. There was an elaborate end-of-term public examination of pupils. This examination determined who would be promoted. The first diplomas were given to graduates in 1860. The oldest known copy of a Manchester High School diploma is dated 1876. That was over 125 years ago. The diploma you take with you this evening is rich in tradition and is a symbol of your accomplishments. Life is all about making choices. As James Deming said, learning is not compulsory, but neither is survival. Tonight, we celebrate a string of successes. We have your wonderful educational experiences at Central High School, the closeness of a loving family, to share these special moments, and the beginning of a positive future. We all share with you one of your goals, graduating from high school and earning your diploma. Thank you. My advice to all, don't let anything get in the way of fulfilling your dreams. No matter what the obstacles, never let anything get between what you truly want to do and want to be in your life. Another famous graduate from the Manchester school system, Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's, once said, "Are you green and growing or ripe and rotting?" Tonight, you are green and growing with all the tools you will need to succeed. This wonderful world we live in will be a better place because of you and what you will become. You make us all very proud. Thank you. this time, I wish you to rise for the posting of the colors. Please remain standing for the national anthem, which is sung by senior members of the music department under the direction of Amanda Kale. But before that, I ask the Guard, Marine Corps, to please post the colors. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Master of Ceremonies for tonight's exercises, Mr. Keith Simpson, President of the Class of 2001.
Thank you, Mr. Crunch. Welcome to our special time this evening. We are so happy to graduate and equally happy to have you all with us. It is my honor for me to introduce to you honored guests on stage this evening. To my left, the principal of Central High School, Mr. Daniel French. Our principal speaker for the evening, Her Excellency, Governor Jean Shaheen. The Honorable Mayor of the City of Manchester, Mr. Robert Baines. Mr. Daniel Healy, Vice Chairman of the City of Manchester School Committee. Mr. Norman Tangway, Superintendent of Manchester Schools. Ms. Catherine Hamlet, Assistant Superintendent of Schools for Elementary School. Mr. Arthur Adaminkis, Assistant Superintendent of Schools for Middle and Secondary Education. Mr. Ronald Chapman, Assistant Superintendent of Schools for Business Affairs. Ms. Isabel Pellerin, Assistant Principal of Central High. Mr. Michael Clemens, Assistant Principal. Mrs. Rita Davis, Assistant Principal. And Mr. David Ryan, Assistant Principal. And Ms. Ellen Healy, Advisor to the Senior Class. And to the right of me, the class officers of the senior class. Key Sheehan, Vice President. Kyle Simpson, Treasurer. Bryn Lovejoy, Secretary. Katie Smith, our 5th member. And I am Keith Simpson, the President. Our top 10 graduates tied for first place and our 5 valedictorians, Sarah Kleinschmidt, Priya Jahardana, Amy Nichols, Jana Mitchell, and P.P. Bond. These valedictorians are followed by Neela Bichjak, 6th honors, Stephanie LeBlanc, 7th honors, Sigol Moyne, 8th honors, Amanda Kale, 9th honors, and tied for 10th place, Aaron Goldstein, and Laura Miller. This evening, we are fortunate to have as our honored guest and principal speaker a person of courage and determination, a leader who has been fighting for education and a teacher herself. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you our principal speaker, the governor of the great state of New Hampshire, Her Excellency, Governor Jean Shaheen. Governor.
Thank you. Good evening. It's hot, huh? Honored graduates, parents, friends, it's a real pleasure for me to be here with you on this very special evening as you begin a new chapter in your lives. This is a day that you all worked hard to reach. You should be proud of what you've accomplished. But no great accomplishment is achieved alone. Here with us tonight are your parents, your families, your teachers, your friends, the people who supported you when you stumbled and encouraged you to keep going. Tonight, we're celebrating not just your accomplishment, but their accomplishment as well. You're setting off on a great adventure into a world that is vastly different from the world that I found when I graduated from high school in 1965. Now, if you do the math, you know that makes me 53. But in 1965, when I graduated, our country was at war. Many of the young men I graduated with would soon find themselves in Vietnam. In 1965, there were still segregated schools in this country. And in 1965, fewer than 5% of the people entering law school were women. In 1965, a sharp calculator sold for $2,500 and weighed 55 pounds. Just a few years after that, an engineer from IBM would say of the microchip, "But what is it good for?" And in 1965, there were no personal computers, CD players, and no cell phones. There was no cable TV, let alone MTV. The world that you face today, in 2001, is in many ways better than the one that I faced in 1965. We live in a time of relative peace. There are greater opportunities for women and for people of color. And technology is revolutionizing the way that we live and work. You have the opportunity to pursue careers that we could not even imagine in 1965. We are now in a technology-driven economy where success is built on ideas, on innovation, and on information. An economy where you will compete for jobs not just with students from West or Memorial, but with students from schools in Seattle and New York, in Tokyo and London. The education you received here at Central was only the beginning, not the end of your learning. Whatever you do now, whether it's going on to college, into the military, or into the workforce with a job, the chances are good that your first career will not be your only career. Even more so than for people in my generation and your parents' generation, learning for you will be a lifelong process, and your education will be the key to your success. That's why as governor I've made education a top priority, because education is the single most important investment that we can make in our children. You may have read about the great education debates in Congress, in the State House here in New Hampshire, or right here in City Hall in Manchester. I was here at Central a couple of weeks ago, and one of the questions that I heard from the students who I met with was why more money hasn't been invested in our schools, why Central hasn't gotten some of the renovations that students thought it should. Well, you may have dismissed these debates as just being politics. And it is politics. But that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Because politics is how we make our democracy work. And that's how you can make things happen. because you have something that 18-year-olds didn't have when I graduated from high school in 1965. You have the right to vote. And never underestimate how powerful that right is. If enough of you vote, then the change that you want, whatever it is, will happen. As noted anthropologist Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So you have that power. I hope that you'll choose to use it. Thank you very much and good luck. Have a wonderful life.
Thank you, Governor Shaheen. We have a gift for you, presented to you by our Vice President, Keisha. Our second principal speaker today is a man of letters, a coach, veteran, teacher at Central High School. This gentleman is leaving the teaching faculty at Central, but he remains in our hearts as an inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates, please welcome English teacher and coach, Mr. Wayne Sanderson. Mr. Sanderson.
Thank you, Keith. Principal French, Governor Shaheen, Mayor Baines, Vice Chairman Healy, Superintendent Tangway, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, and the scintillating class of 2001. By God, we made it. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man, in his time, plays many parts. It would be impossible for me to stand here before you without relying on the greatness of Shakespeare, to put feelings into words, to translate emotions into action. For 37 years, Central High School has been my world. For 4 years, it has been yours. We have played our parts in the classroom, in the gymnasium, on the playing fields, and in the auditorium. And now we make our exit, and we make it together. Each one of us carries away lessons learned, the joy of successes we have had, regrets for things left undone, moments shared with people we care about, and memories that will last for the rest of our lives. I consider myself the most fortunate of men. I have played many roles in my life that have brought me great happiness and personal satisfaction. I have been a husband and shared my life with Mrs. Sanderson for 39 years. God bless her. I have been a father and helped to raise a son that continues to make me proud. I have been a grandfather to 4 delightful children who fill my life with joy. I have been a friend to many and have had that friendship returned to sustain me in both my happiest and darkest moments. I have been a coach and shared my love of sports with hundreds of young men. But it is my role as a teacher that I want to talk to you about tonight. The highest reward from a person's career